If you're a service business owner, then this training is for you. Today, we're talking about all things conversions. Stick around. We got a lot to cover. Hi there, my name is Matt Law, and I've been helping service businesses grow since 2001, and I'm excited to share this training with you today. We're going to be digging into conversions and how to increase your conversion rates with leads and how to separate yourself from your competitors. It's called unique selling points, and it's part of our system we use to help companies grow. So let's jump into the training right away. So step number one is to say the right things with your unique selling points. And I want to start off by sharing just a powerful quote with you. And I love this quote. I think it's brilliant. Marketing isn't rocket science. It's simply knowing what everyone wants to hear and then saying it every time you open your mouth. So let's talk about why your USPs matter. And we have to start off by thinking about customers and putting ourselves in our customers' shoes. Remember that your customers don't care about you. And I know that sounds kind of offensive, but in general, most everybody cares about themselves. And so your customers don't care about you. They really care about themselves. Now, they may choose to work with you because of what they receive from the relationship. And so I want to start off this training by reminding you that everyone is tuned to WIFM radio. Now, if you're old like me, you may have had something like that when you were a kid, but WIFM, what's in it for me? And this really isn't a bad thing, but it's important for us to remember people instinctively care more about themselves first. Think about it like this. You're not watching this training for me, you're watching it for you and for what you can get out of it. So I remember one day I was consulting with a business in Seattle, and I was sitting with them and I said, hey, we were going through unique selling points. And I said, why should your customers work with you? Why should they hire you versus the guy down the road? And I remember him saying, well, we love our customers. And there were some staff members there and a little bit of smirking and snirking, whatever that is going on. And they were kind of laughing at that. And I said, well, what do you do for them? And he said, well, nothing really, but they know that we love them. And I said, well, how do they know? And he said, well, I don't know. We just love them. I said, no, you love the money, they pay you, but you're doing nothing special for them. We need to remember that this is a free economy. And if a customer can get a better deal somewhere else, listen to me, business owner, they will leave your company and find somebody new. And this is why it's critical for unique selling points. Remember, everyone is in it for themselves, for what is best for them. And so therefore, we have to think about our unique selling points and try to separate ourselves from our competitors and our competition. So let's keep talking about USPs. Our unique selling points shouldn't be based on price, but value. And so a lot of times people will say, well, Matt, I don't want to lower my prices anymore. And you want to do these ads. Should we target these low price, options or jobs? And I say you shouldn't. You don't want to be the cheapest. You actually just want to be the best. And so we are not going to be on price, but value. It's important to remember that almost all buying decisions are based on value. And to understand USPs, we have to understand value and the value scale. So take a look at this. People will only pick the cheapest, all right? They will pick the cheapest if everything is equal. But it's our job to make sure things aren't equal. So USPs tip the scale so things aren't equal. So if someone's looking at the cheapest, they may say, hey, I'd rather spend more to work with your company because of what they value. So as we go through the value scale, I'll give you some examples like social connection, availability, customer experience, safety features, atmosphere, emotional connection, warranties or guarantees, speed of delivery, quality of service, anything bonus they get, how they feel about the staff, any guarantees, things like that. I said that in warranties, but these are unique selling points and things that people value. And your job as a business owner is to tip the scale and to add more to your service offering that doesn't necessarily cost you more money, but improves your overall experience so that when they compare you to the cheapest guy, they say, man, I'd be crazy to work with somebody else because look at all of the value I'm getting. And what you're probably thinking right now is like, how does this have anything to do with conversions? And what you need to realize is that there is a tipping scale. There's a time that if you do the right things in business and you have a great offering and you build out your unique selling points, there is a time in your business where you will convert more prospects and more leads than you used to do in the past. And there's a tipping scale where you will begin to dominate the market. And I want to give you some examples as we talk about value. So hopefully this will make more sense to you. Here's two companies. Both of them offer beef, right? They both sell beef. One is much cheaper than the other, but you have to remember people value different things, right? So sometimes people value the quality of beef. And if they value the quality of beef, they're not going to McDonald's. They may value ambiance. It may be a special occasion. They may value a relationship with their spouse. And so they'll go there for your anniversary. And so if you value those things, Ruth's Chris would be a much better choice. On the other hand, if you value convenience, right, in the moment, and you want something fast, you want something easy you can eat in the car, maybe it's not the best, but it's dependable, you may choose McDonald's. So there's a place for both of these businesses, but it's based on what people value. Let's look at some more. A while back, Target added Starbucks to their stores, and they were really trying to gain market share. And they actually did a great job for a while because people could go in, they could have a cup of coffee. And so if they want a coffee, they could go into there over Walmart. They could also go to Target because it's not as crowded. It's a little bit cleaner and nicer stores. And so Target has existed, even though you and I and everyone know they are more expensive. In our area where I live, the Walmart Supercenter parking lot is crazy. And when our kids were little, I mean, people would fly through there. And so you're going to the grocery store, to the store, and you got kids with you. What do you value? You value safety. And so because we valued our kids and we valued their safety and we valued peace and quiet and having a Starbucks, right, we would go to Target. Target eventually did change some things around, and a lot of the policies we did not agree with personally. And so because of our values, and if you remember this, they would let anyone go into any restroom. And I did not like that as a dad of two daughters. And so we stopped going to Target because of what we value. Here's another example. Walmart started doing grocery pickup. And so you could go and you could order everything online. And this was a really neat innovation. We liked it. And then we found out they also did delivery. So we signed up, and now we spend more money with Walmart because how easy it is to get things delivered. You can see people value different things. And here's what you need to realize. Every buying decision you make is likely based on value. When you went and you bought a car, did you buy the cheapest car? Or did you buy the car that had all the things that you wanted based on what you value? Leather. Did you want a convertible? Did you want four-wheel drive? When you bought a house and you moved to your house, why did you pick that house? Did you pick it based on the cheapest? Or did you pick it based on the things you valued? The neighborhood, proximity to work, proximity to schools, things like that. Here's another example, and this is for you people that live with me down in the South. Winn-Dixie has been around since as a kid, but even knowing and going to the stores throughout my childhood, the people were known to be kind of rude, at least in my opinion. They had all these gimmicks of how they did a discount with, like, do you have a card? Then you can get this discount. And so Winn-Dixie also was known as the beef people. And really, they did not do anything that was remarkable. But Publix, on the other hand, their motto was always where shopping is a pleasure. And they're tough on their employees. They're strict on how they behave. They have very, very helpful people. The managers are always out. They have free samples. The baggers will actually take you out, take your groceries out and help you load them in your car. So think about how good that is for an elderly person or maybe someone with some disabilities. So you think about this, Publix costs more, but it's a private company, and you can compare Publix to Winn-Dixie or a lot of different companies out there, even Walmart grocery shopping. It is a private company valued at $65 billion with zero debt. Meanwhile, Winn-Dixie has gone through bankruptcy, sold multiple locations to Aldi, and even though they were the cheaper option compared to Publix, people still chose Publix because of what they valued, and it was a better shopping experience. Here's another one. Okay, so I'll be straight with you. I'm a Mac user. I will probably never go back to Windows, but I know Microsoft has greatly improved, and I hear that all the time. So why do I pay more for all of my stuff? Why do I pay more for an iPhone versus an Android? Why do I pay more for these Mac computers? Well, it goes back to probably about 2000, I don't know, 2008, 2009. And doing internet marketing and having Windows computers, and they would always break down or they would get something would happen. And I said, I need something that just works. And so I started and I got an iPhone. I was like, I like this. This is working good. And then I got a Mac, and then I saw how the whole, technology all works together. So why do I value Mac, and why do I pay more for all of my stuff, even though I can get it way cheaper? And it's because of reliability and time. And when a company makes the software and the hardware, it just seems to work better. Now, I know Windows has greatly improved, so don't be offended with me, but it just works for me. And now I use it. Now I love it. And I've become a fan. So because of my value of the technology working easily and just user interface and everything working, I choose Mac. But some people don't care. They just need something quick to take notes on. They need something for school. They need something that's cheaper and easy. And so they choose Microsoft, right? Or they go to Dell and they get a Microsoft, operating system computer. There's room and there's space and for both of these companies in the marketplace. Just got a couple more and we're going to move on. But I want you to understand value and why it matters. So here's two more. Burger King, which, is kind of on the teetering edge in our area, really, really struggling as a fast food chain. And then there is Chick-fil-A, which is absolutely dominating. Lines around the building, 2 drive-throughs, and per location, Chick-fil-A does more revenues than even McDonald's. And keep in mind, they're not open 24 hours a day and they're closed on Sunday. But why? Because of what people value. So when I was a kid, when my kids were little, we would go to Chick-fil-A. And one thing I liked, and this is so small, like a 10-cent thing, maybe even less, they had placemats. And so you could put down the placemats and they were free. They're out there. You could just dump out your kids' meals and they wouldn't get germs everywhere. They had this thing where you could go through the drive-through and order, and they would set everything up, and then you could go in with your kids. So as a parent, it was good to have Chick-fil-A when dad was on duty. And so people would value and pay more because they thought about people. They always say, instead of saying, you're welcome, they say, hey, my pleasure. They have playgrounds. They have the cow walking around. So they were building their business not based on being the cheapest, based on what people value. And here's the last one. They're both cars, right? They both have 4 wheels. They both have four tires, two headlights, right? They're both will get you from point A to point B, but some people would rather spend $200,000 on a car because they value going 0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds. So think about this. People value different things, and your customers, your prospects, they value something. They value something, and that is going to guide their buying decision. How long is your product going to last? Is there a warranty? Is there a guarantee? Are your guys drug addicts? Are they out there, smoking drugs? Why they're after installing? Do they throw their cigarette butts, in your yard? Do they leave the place clean? Right? There's so many things that customers value when they work with service business. So let's talk through this. Customers don't buy on price alone. And that's something important for you to remember, is that price isn't the number one thing, but it's value. And value looks different to each person. So some people value speed, quality, trust, peace of mind, experience. The job of your unique selling points is to uncover what your market values most and show them clearly why you deliver it better than anybody else. So when your USP communicates value, price pressure disappears. When you are delivering value, then price becomes less relevant. And here's why: because you're adding all of these things to the scale. You're like, wow, this is awesome. This is neat. Wow, this is cool. They do this. Oh, they added that. And so now they can't calculate all of this in their head, and they're willing to pay more, stay longer, and choose you over the competition because they see you as the clear and obvious choice. Now, when you're talking about, hey, coming up with these unique selling points, it's not easy. And one thing that you're going to have to do is spend some time innovating your company and doing innovation. So innovation is what changes your company to be faster, better, stronger, healthier, or more organized. Whatever, it's multiple things. And when you innovate, you improve your unique selling points, which then increase conversion rates. So when I meet with businesses and we sit down and we talk and we're brainstorming about their unique selling points, I'm sharing with them what some of our customers do, and I'm pushing them. Hey, can we do a better warranty? Hey, can you do background checks on your staff, right? How do you clean up? What special materials do you use? Like, how are you better? Like, can we extend this? Can we do this? Can we add other things? Can we partner with somebody else to, give them something as part of the deal? And we're just brainstorming together. And sometimes business owners love it, right? They're just like, yeah, let's make it better. And sometimes they freeze up because innovation is a little bit painful. It's kind of like, all the things that are wrong with your business. The naked truth about your business, all the things you do well and all the things you do a terrible job at that you want to fix, you're going to fix one day. It's in your plan one day. But it takes innovation, and innovation takes change, and it takes work. You have to understand, when you innovate your company, and when I'm working to innovate a company, we're not calling your baby ugly, right? Because entrepreneurs, our businesses are babies, and we want them to do well. We want them to thrive, grow up, be healthy, sell them one day, right? But here's the thing. Innovation isn't calling your baby ugly. Innovation is putting braces on your kid so that one day it's the best life for your baby. It's hard at first. It's painful at first, right? Braces, like, it's painful, right? But then in the long run, it's for the overall health of your company. And here's what I'm going to tell you. If you don't innovate now, if you aren't willing to put on braces and innovate, there are companies in your neighborhood that are going to innovate, that are going to change, that are going to improve, and they are going to find out what customers want, and then they are going to deliver it, and you are going to lose market share. I don't care how long you have been in business. If you are not innovating and improving, somebody else will come and knock you off. And here's a great example of a company that gained a ton of market share. In the 90s, one of my buddies had one of these cars. It was the biggest piece of junk, right? I remember this thing must have broke down 1,000 times. Now Hyundai says we have America's best warranty, 10 years, 100,000-mile warranty. And here's what's interesting. Even if the price was the same, right? Because people value a longer warranty, right? What's happened with them because they did that and made good cars and stood behind their warranty, it allowed them to increase market share. Compared to when I was a kid, there are so many Hyundais on the market now. And so they've really increased in market share. Was it hard when they said, hey, 10-year warranty? Yes, of course it was. But did it help? Okay, of course it did. They have grown so much in market share. Why? Because people value the warranty. People value different things. So if the price is the same, all right, and you've got a better warranty, that's adding value. I know you know this company, Amazon Prime, free 2-day deliveries, free returns. They've added music, video, storage, more. And here's the question. Do you have a Prime account? I remember back in the day, they must have said, hey, we're talking through this. We're going to deliver everything in 2 days. Can we do that? I don't know. But it caught on. And now it's video and music and all of these things. And here's the question. Do you have an Amazon Prime account? More than likely you do. And little by little, they've increased, the price on Amazon, but people stayed because of the value. They increase the offering, and so they can increase the price as well. Why? People say because of value. Now they dominate market share. Now, what happens when you don't innovate? When you don't listen to your customers, when you don't care about them, when you expect them to just do business with you because you're nice, you're good, you're family owned and operated, honesty and integrity, all of those things because, hey, we're here, we're open, so people should do business with us. You see, Blockbuster didn't innovate. People were sick and tired of late fees. They were sick and tired of how much it would cost. They were sick and tired of the hassle of going out. And before Netflix ever started streaming, folks, they did DVD delivery by mail with no late fees. They continued to innovate and added streaming movies. And by that time, it was just too late for Blockbuster. All right? Netflix had captured the market share through innovation. Here's the question. Do you go to Blockbuster anymore? All right? Do you have a Netflix account? Innovation is paramount to your success. So let me give you some tips on how you can develop your unique selling points, and I'll give you a few good ideas, hopefully, as we go. Surveys and customer feedback. It's super important. So if you have a big database already, you can email them. You can also just have conversations with your customers, why they work with you, why they chose you over your competitors. You can also look for trends in reviews. So you can read through your reviews, and then you can also look at some of the negative reviews that maybe you have, or the positive reviews you have, and kind of look for things that are in common. Another thing that you can do is look at some of your competitors' reviews and read about some of the things that people hate. Like you could take and copy all of their reviews, put it into ChatGPT and say, hey, what are the things that people hate about this company? And it will allow you to spot trends in your reviews or competitor reviews. Another thing you can do is spy on your competitors. And I'm not saying you want to, be just like them, but you have to realize this. Usually when there's an innovation or a breakthrough, there will always be someone there first, but then other people will kind of catch up. So right now, I'll give you an example, like fast food restaurants. Almost every restaurant has a Happy Meal. Every fast food, they have a drive-through. They have a lot of them have playgrounds. There's a lot of things that are standard. But there was one person that was first to innovate and said, you know what, let's build a drive-through. Let's build a playground. Hey, let's put this thing together and call it a Happy Meal. So by looking at your competitors and seeing what they're doing, you can say, hey, is there something that we could easily add or something we're already doing that will tip the scale in our favor? You could also ask customers why they picked you. And so if you have good relationships with your customers, it's like, hey, listen, why did you choose us versus, our competitor? If you lose a customer or you lose a lead, you can say, hey, why did you not work with us, or why didn't you pick us? And ultimately, your USP is giving what everyone wants to hear and then telling it to them every time you open your mouth. So your USP should be based on the marketplace and what people are really looking for, whether it's a longer warranty, it's, professionalism. There's a lot of things in service businesses. Let me give you a quick example, and let's take a look at a client, and I'll just kind of show you how this goes together. This is their homepage, and I'll just kind of show you a couple of things here. So they have their USPs on the left-hand side. So this company started, I think when we started with them, they had like 17 reviews. Now they have over 210 reviews, 4.9 average, really, really high. So we put that up there. Look at, everyone loves them. They have the best warranty in the area. Everyone else does 1 year. They do 3 years. They use these specialty hurricane fasteners. This is a Florida company, so it's a specialty tool that they use to use these hurricane fasteners that don't rust. Hassle-free estimates. If you look at the right-hand side, you say, how would you like to be quoted? I want to quote in person. I want to quote by text or email. So they do quotes by text and email where you can upload pictures. 35 years of experience. Maybe you don't have that, but their team does. And this guy has a lot of experience in the industry. They do no money up front and pay only when you're satisfied. That's a big unique selling point. The only thing they charge them for is a permit if needed, or sometimes if it's a special order item. So licensed and insured and ethical, of course, that's one you would think, but there's a lot of people in this industry that don't have insurance, that aren't licensed, and so it's kind of a big deal. So they are a licensed building contractor, so they can do more for their customers. They work with insurance companies, so when there is an issue and you don't know how to handle it, they'll handle everything. They have tons of financing options. And so those are their unique selling points. And what's cool is the video on the right-hand side shares the unique selling point. The chat points them to the unique selling point. And here, let me show you this too. I'll try to do this. Is that when you fill out that form and you request a quote, what you end up getting, I'll try to show it to you, is you get this nice, this is their leave behind, but you actually get a digital copy of this when you request it. What's kind of cool is it's got what our customers say. It's got in here a letter from them, and I'm just gonna, it's got a financing doc, so they can get financing with a QR code. It's a little hard to see there. It's got a sheet with all of their services, their online reviews. It's about 6 pages, and you can see bundle and save. And what's cool is this is their leave behind that they will leave behind when they go and visit. But when you request a quote, all of those USPs and why work with us is sent to them digitally as soon as they opt in. What I want to tell you is by doing all of this and figuring out their unique selling points, they grew, all right, and understand this, they were able to grow substantially more. They generated more leads and they grew with online leads, but their conversion rate increase. And when your conversion rate just increases and it grows and it gets much, much higher because of you're saying exactly what people want, you can have the same amount of leads. And I've worked with companies like this before, the same amount of leads, but they innovated and they shared their unique selling points. And guess what happened? Their conversion rate increased and their revenues dramatically grew, even though they did not generate more leads. And so I'll kind of walk you through the big picture here. This is the USP. It goes into the center of all of your marketing, goes into everything that you do. So it will go into your marketing arsenal, your platforms and offers, into your marketing automation. It is the center and the overall marketing message of your business. And it matters so much. And I'll kind of give you an example of how big a deal it is to have your unique selling points. About 15 years ago, I was doing a training and I had gone through unique selling points and innovation. And during this class, I was sharing about unique selling points, and we decided to pick a business from our group. And there was a guy, his name was Russ. He was a pool builder. And I said, Russ, do you mind coming up? And we asked him about why we should do business with him. What are his unique selling points? And basically we're nice, we're good, we're family owned and operated. And I said, class, can we help him come up with some unique selling points? So we broke into groups, and the class came up with some killer ideas. So it was like people were upset that their pools weren't done on time. On-time guarantee, if it's not done, we'll give you X amount of dollars for every day. They also did something like people don't know what chemicals to do. He did a training for them and gave them chemicals for a year. These were the ideas. They did a longer warranty than any of the competitors. He partnered with landscape companies, aluminum companies to do like the pool enclosures, patio furniture companies, so that they would get a discount because if they build a pool with him. And so he did background checked, staff. They talked about doing a digital design. It was some of the stuff that he had already done. And he had some good USPs, but he basically never said anything. So I don't think much of it. A year later, he comes back and he wants to come through our class again. I said, yeah, sure, come on, hang out with us. And I said, well, how's everything going? And he said, well, our pool business doubled. And I said, wait, stop, come up and let's talk and share with the class kind of what happened. And he said, well, I went home and basically I took all of these USPs and I worked on what I would say to the customer. And the only thing I did was I did a little folder, and it wasn't fancy. It wasn't professionally printed like I just showed you. It was just good. Here's our USPs. Here's how we're different. And he shared it with them when he talked with them. And he said his conversion rate went up because it wasn't a very competitive area. And every time he bid up against his main competitor, his USPs always caused him to get that conversion. The only marketing he did is he did a social media viral campaign where he said, hey, if you do pictures before and during and after and tag us in social media and share it on social media, I will give you a % off of your pool. I don't forget, it was maybe a couple $100. And then if they end up doing a pool with me, then I will also give you more of a discount. So it was a referral campaign, really an affiliate campaign for people sharing on social media. It's still a great marketing strategy, but overall, how he was able to double his, I think at that time it was about a $2 million pool business. How he was able to do that was simply by changing his USPs and innovating. And once your USPs are set, they go into everything. It will go into your ads, it will go into your website, it will go into your emails, your automation, your video. All right, you've got a lot of things that your USPs go into. Now, this is the first part of our training on unique selling points. You still got 3 more videos to go, and so I will hope that you will stay tuned and continue to watch those. I can't go into every detail of all of the 4-step in this one video, but I'd like to give you access to our free training resources. It has the book, which is the blueprint that we use to grow companies. You'll also get an audio version of that. There is some marketing checklists there for tools and making sure you have everything done. I've got a ton of audio training there as well that you can check out and you can kind of listen through. And we give all this away for free, right? Here's a better look at the book. The book and all of these resources we give away for free. And you're like, hey, Matt, why are you giving away all of this free stuff just to help business owners? Here's what we realize. One thing, it's a golden rule, right? Who knew that it would actually work? But it's actually part of the 4-step marketing formula. And here's what you need to realize. When you educate and you provide value to your prospects, right? And you share with them how you're different, how you're better, You don't actually have to sell really hard. You don't have to look for business. Business will find you. And this is actually part of the 4-step marketing formula. And so I hope you check it out. And again, there's some great resources there. Want to thank you for watching, and I hope that you have an amazing day.